Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. These were the famous or infamous words, depending on which side you're on, of Elon Musk, a name that has today become synonymous with, well, takeovers. Love him or hate him, this new age spaceman, entrepreneur, serial investor, and inventor who co-founded the electronic payment firm PayPal and formed SpaceX, and is the chief executive officer of the electric car manufacturer Tesla, really shook the ground when he acquired social media giant Twitter in 2022. The world's richest man completed his on-again, off-again $44 billion buyout on October 28, 2022. So, since assuming ownership, how have things at Twitter been? For starters, a shock was due for approximately 3,700 of its employees who were laid off. This was half of the workforce. As a domino effect, existing employees were urged to work 12-hour days, even on weekends, to make service changes that Musk demanded. Some of the biggest advertisers then decided to pull out from Twitter in fear of Musk relaxing its content moderation policies. Musk dealt another sort of a blow when he also infamously offered user verification for $8 a month. Created by Jack Dorsey, Noah Glass, Biz Stone, and Evan Williams in March 2006 and launched in July of that year, by 2012, Twitter had more than 100 million users who tweeted 340 million tweets a day, with the service handling on average of 1.6 billion search queries per day. In 2013, it was one of the 10 most visited websites and has also been described as the SMS of the internet. In early 2019, Twitter had more than 330 million monthly active users. In terms of the service's impact on society, after 16 years of documenting the world in 140 characters, Twitter arguably has a disproportionate influence on the world, partly because it attracts a significant number of politicians, journalists, and celebrities. Whether it is politics, business, science, journalism, education, relationships, or celebrity culture, the blue-winged tool has been a harbinger of change through the 21st century, and the story of its takeover has shocked many loyalists, while the other side claims that a new world order was due, given the controversies surrounding the service. By 2022, Musk had a sizable following on Twitter, numbering 80 million followers. When asked about buying Twitter, he gestured a response asking how much it was and began putting the service under the spotlight by polling criticisms on whether free speech was upheld on the service as it is. When asked about buying Twitter, he gestured a response asking how much it was and began putting the service under the spotlight by polling criticisms on whether free speech was upheld on the service as it is essential to a functioning democracy. Days later, he met with Twitter's co-founder Jack Dorsey, exploring the possibility of joining the board of directors. He shared this idea with the Twitter board chair, Brett Taylor, and CEO Parag Agrawal, suggesting to either take the company private or start a rival social media platform. Dorsey, in a text message, expressed his desire to turn Twitter into an openly sourced service, and that he had recommended Musk's induction into Twitter's board a year earlier, which also prompted his departure from his role as CEO. Public reaction to the takeover has been mixed at best, with praise coming in for Musk's planned reforms and vision for the company, particularly his promotion of greater free speech, but criticism over uncertainty over potential rise in misinformation, disinformation, harassment, and hate speech on the platform, which, as it has been reported with anti-Semitic and anti-racist views, are on the rise. In the U.S., conservatives have largely supported the acquisition, while many liberals and former Twitter employees have opposed and rejected Musk's intentions. Since becoming owner, Musk has faced backlash for his handling of the company and account suspensions. Over the years, Twitter, through its journey as a social media and information-sharing hub, has gone through many scandals and controversy, as is the case with any new innovation. Its purpose was questioned, and its ease of accessibility meant everyone expressed their political and personal opinion freely, until it also saw opposition and faced lawsuits against its censorship policies. With Elon Musk vowing to change the status quo, it is rather interesting to explore the event. A hastily organized meeting arranged at an Airbnb to host the world's richest person paved the way to Elon Musk becoming Twitter's largest stakeholder. Talks had already begun for the events that would follow, and before we knew it, the spaceman had bought the social media behemoth. Hi, you're listening to Elon Musk, Twitter Takeover, only on Cuckoo FM. When Twitter chairman Brett Taylor arrived at the venue, it was unlike anything he had expected, as the Airbnb had tractors and donkeys on the property. In a text to Musk, he mentioned that it topped the list of the weirdest places where he had ever held a meeting. That would only be the beginning of the weirdness. In the next 6 months, one of the most surprising on-off deals would ensue in the history of Silicon Valley. After Musk expressed an interest in buying Twitter lock, stock, and barrel on the 14th of April 2022, he offered $44 billion or £38 billion for a takeover bid in a take-it-or-leave-it offer. The offer was initially rejected by the Twitter board, prompting them to create a poison pill strategy in a bid to thwart the billionaire's tactics. According to Twitter's plan, its strategy was to impose a significant penalty on investors that build up a stake of at least 15% in the company without the board's approval. The San Francisco company's plan would be implemented if a shareholder accumulated a stake of 15% or more. Musk, best known as CEO of electric car maker Tesla, then held a roughly 9% stake, but had raised the possibility of buying more stock. If they had hit the threshold, the Twitter board could then offer other shareholders to buy 1,000th of a share of preferred stock, with each priced at $210. This made anyone, including Musk, the world's richest man to buy Twitter. Interestingly, while the strategy acted as a defensive move, many also cited it as a negotiating ploy on part of Twitter. As expected, Twitter left room for conjecture that its poison pill will not be preventing its board from engaging with investors or welcoming an acquisition deal for a higher price. The problem with adopting poison pills, as has been seen on numerous occasions before, is that they result in lawsuits and can blame corporate biggies for using it as a tactic to secure their positions against the interest of the majority of the complaints filed by the shareholders. The ball ultimately was in the shareholders' court, who assess a deal based on its cash-out merit. So how did the spaceman react to Twitter's move? Initially avoiding to comment on the development, Musk later tweeted to his 82 million-strong following, hinting at his current supposed bid of $52.20 per share bid directly to Twitter shareholders. He even followed it up with musical notes from Elvis Presley's 1956 hit song, Love Me Tender. A week later, he tweeted that he was prepared to fight and warned that if the current board made moves that are counter to the shareholders' interests, they'd be breaching their fiduciary duty. He topped it with another comment saying that the liability they'd be assuming as a result would be titanic in scale. In a final offer, Musk said that the other corporate entities had made similar moves before giving in, and moreover, given his immense fortune, it was widely anticipated that he could walk the talk. As mentioned before, Twitter wasn't the only corporation to implement a poison pill strategy to defend itself. There have been other instances before where companies have had to resort to such defensive tactics. Takeover games often dissolve into upmanship that includes poison pills and other strategic decisions aimed at making a buyout more complicated. That's what happened in one of the biggest and most drawn-out takeovers in Silicon Valley history. In the month of June 2003, software giant Oracle made an unsolicited $5.1 billion offer for its smaller rival, PeopleSoft. And this triggered a legal fight that stretched for the next 18 months. Defending itself, PeopleSoft adopted a poison pill that authorized the board to flood the market with more shares, but it also created what it called a customer assurance program. This strategy promised to pay customers 5 times the cost of their software licenses if the company was sold within the next 2 years, which would create an estimated liability of up to $800 million for an acquiring company. There was another helping hand extended to PeopleSoft when the U.S. Department of Justice filed an antitrust lawsuit seeking to block the takeover, although the ruling was passed in Oracle's favor. In this case, PeopleSoft gained from its strategy, selling to Oracle at $11.1 billion, securing an additional $7 billion. Musk was all set to add Twitter to his kitty. But was it going to be as easy as it looked? 10th of April, 2022. Elon Musk tweeted that he would be reversing the decision to ban former U.S. President Donald Trump, expressing his newfound confidence as the emerging owner of the social media giant. Was this a negotiating ploy, and was Musk using his outspoken promotion of free speech in a bid to play Twitter to his tunes, like he had done earlier with an Elvis number, no less? Whatever the trick, what followed was layman bargaining, with Musk threatening to pull out of the deal and Twitter offering him a position on the board of members. But true to form, Musk declined the offer, and Parag Agrawal, CEO of Twitter, shared the news in a tweet, citing that the billionaire had refused to comply. He shared that the board had multiple discussions about onboarding Elon as a member, with him working towards the interest and growth of the company, which they saw as a clear path forward, given his interest in the company. While he was still the biggest shareholder of the company, he wouldn't be part of the board, but was open to offer suggestions to help develop and evolve the ecosystem further. Musk's repeated U-turns on whether he was indeed willing to buy Twitter and his public criticism of the company were seen by many as deliberate efforts to lower the firm's share price and secure a better deal, as investor Giuseppe Pampena alleged in a lawsuit. He further blamed Musk for deliberately behaving and making certain statements in a bid to drive down Twitter's share prices that he could leverage to negotiate a better price. Musk reportedly intended to use the opportunity to skim off as much as 25% of the original deal, which amounted to a staggering $11 billion. 4 days later, Musk made an offer to purchase Twitter for $43 billion, or at $54.20 per share, and expressed his vision to take the company private. Twitter countered the offer by accepting his initial bid of $44 billion, but as a result, its stock prices plunged by 4.9%, pricing at $49.89 per share. The following week, on Sunday, April 24, 2022, Musk tried again to force Twitter's hand. He delivered a letter to the board, repeating that his $54.20 per share offer was best and final, threatening once more that he would be forced to sell all of his shares if his bid were rejected, and saying he would propose a seller-friendly merger agreement to be signed before the market opened the next day. Musk's counsel then shared a draft agreement with the Twitter board, reiterating that Musk's offer was not contingent on any due diligence, and underscored that the form of the proposed agreement was intended to make this easy on all to get to a deal ASAP. Following this, however, in a shocking twist of events that sent waves through Silicon Valley, Elon suddenly threatened to walk out of the deal of the century. Was he getting cold feet? Was it yet another trick in his book? What had motivated him to take such a drastic decision that put his own reputation as the world's most influential man at stake? Stay tuned as we explore the mystery behind this make-or-break deal, only on Cuckoo FM. In a deal that was rocking back and forth through a dramatic end, Twitter's shares plummeted during pre-market trading, after Elon Musk announced that he had put the deal on hold until he got more information on the number of fake and spam accounts on the platform. Was there any truth to it or not? In the build-up to the deal of the century, Musk had repeatedly expressed his concerns about removing spam and fake accounts from Twitter as one of his top priorities, after he took over, of course. Where did this concept generate? And is there any truth to his claims? Sample this. Twitter users got a first glimpse at what was to come from the rapid product change to the platform after Musk's announcement. Fake accounts impersonated Nintendo, Apple, Lockheed Martin, even as Twitter and Musk's electric vehicle company Tesla. Pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly & Co. led to the company's stocks plummeting. This happened after a fake account tweeted that they were excited to announce that insulin was now free. To combat this impersonation, Twitter then eventually added an official label to some of these accounts. This gave Musk another chance to take a shot at upending Twitter's verification system. While Twitter reported that these accounts make up fewer than 5% of daily active users, it has had a history of math errors in this area, even miscounting the number of daily users it had for 3 consecutive years. This information is in the public domain and worked as a setback in Musk's acquisition plans, which faced initial opposition from the Twitter board and had yet to be locked. Before Musk purchased the influential social network for $44 billion and tried to get out of the deal at the last minute, he had vowed to defeat the spam bots or die trying, and authenticate all real humans. There is a history behind Twitter and other social networks having to long grapple with fake accounts on their platforms. The problem was that people create fake accounts for various reasons, including to scam people out of money, as parodies or to spread disinformation. Twitter, according to its privacy laws, does allow pseudonymous accounts such as parody as long as users aren't purposefully misleading or deceiving others. When Twitter introduced its new paid verification system in 2020, a fake account posing as Canadian psychologist and Harvard professor Steven Pinker purchased a verified blue checkmark. The fake account, which identified its location as parody, tweeted an apology for blocking everyone, garnering 227 likes and 40 retweets. It appeared to reference Pinker, who in 2020 mentioned his name with Jeffrey Epstein, a financier and convicted sex offender. Twitter then suspended the fake Pinker account. 794,000 followers denied that the account was his, and that he hadn't known that it even existed. In response to his vow to defeat spam bots, the Tesla CEO conducted a poll that resulted with 65% of his followers not believing in Twitter's claim that less than 5% of daily users are fake or spam on the platform. This is seen by many as an arm-twisting move by Musk in a bid to bring Twitter to the negotiating table. Twitter followed by inviting him to an all-hands-on-deck meeting on the 16th of April. The meeting concluded around 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and according to a source, the majority of the reactions on Twitter's Slack messaging board were negative in nature. In a virtual exchange, he fielded questions from employees who were worried about layoff, remote work, a reduced focus on content moderation, and their fears about inclusion and diversity measures were confirmed. Employees also shared memes in an apparent reference to Musk's note that exceptional employees could likely continue to work remotely and would not have to fear layoffs. Far from impressing the company's 7,500 mostly remote employees, the town hall seemed to only rile them anew. According to employees, as Twitter's internal Slack channels lit up with anger and disappointment at Musk's answers to employees' questions, including a suggestion that he planned to lay off underperformers. Was it a new world order in the making? Stay tuned as we unfold the events leading up to the historic acquisition in the next episode. Until defendants commit to close as required, Twitter is entitled to its day in court. In another day of drama for the Twitter takeover epic tale, billionaire Elon Musk's lawyers and the Twitter board were locked in an increasingly acrimonious legal battle that has swept up some of the biggest names in Silicon Valley and Wall Street. Each side engaged in an accusation game of breaking the April takeover agreement. Twitter, unshakable on its stand to keep Musk from backing out of the biggest deal of the century, went to court to order him to buy the company as agreed for $54.20 per share. The Delaware court had powers to enforce its orders and could appoint a receivership to seize some of Musk's asset, namely Tesla stock, if he didn't comply, according to Tom Lin, a law professor at Temple University, that could top at $33 billion. Anticipating a legal battle for the acquisition, preparations for the trial were well underway, with lawyers representing Musk and Twitter hashing out several arguments over a few weeks. But how did it all happen? Musk had offered to buy Twitter for $54.20 per share in April 2022, citing that the company had the potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe. Simultaneously, he also had said Twitter would not reach this potential in its current state and was better organized as a private company. Musk, who had more than 107 million Twitter followers at that time, regularly posted updates about his business, memes, polls, and other jokes on the platform, towards which the social media service appeared initially reluctant, but accepted Musk's offer after weeks of back and forth. But things went downhill after Musk backed out of the deal in July, saying that the company made misleading representations over the number of spam bots on the service. He also argued that it had failed to follow ethical business practices. Musk also shared that it had slowed its hiring and did not give him a notice before firing 2 executives, just as the deal was closing. Twitter sued Musk days later for violating their prior agreement and said Musk's exit plan was in fact a blatant case of him getting cold feet and a case of bad faith. It further challenged that it had disclosed necessary information regarding spam accounts and that the amount of spam accounts on the platform did not have a material adverse effect on its business, and that Musk had breached the agreement, blocking efforts to close the deal. But why Delaware? You might wonder. It is known that about 2/3 of all Fortune 500 companies are incorporated in Delaware. Twitter is one of them. Though it does not have a physical presence in the state, it is incorporated here for several reasons. Delaware housed a unique business court that gave Twitter the home ground advantage. For over 2 centuries, the Delaware Chancery Court had decided thousands of corporate cases, making the results of disputes held there more predictable. It was also reputed for passing quick judgments and resolutions. This wasn't the first time Musk had appeared in Delaware a year prior to the Twitter battle. He had testified in a shareholder lawsuit over whether he and the directors at Tesla had breached their fiduciary duties when offered $2 billion to buy Solar City, a struggling solar panel installation company, founded by 2 of his cousins, with his help. In this case, the court had sided with Musk, so in a way it was going to be a pitched battle. To complicate matters further, Peter Mudge Zatko, a 51-year-old whistleblower who joined Twitter as head of security in late 2020, made a disclosure that became public and upended one of the world's most influential social networks and raised new questions about its pending acquisition by Musk. It would also, he later testified, put his career and his family at risk. Zatko alleged that Twitter trusted far too many employees with access to sensitive user data, creating a fragile security position that an outsider could exploit to wreak havoc on the platform. The disclosure also claimed that 1 or more current Twitter employees may be working for a foreign intelligence service, potentially threatening user data and U.S. national security. As the deadline neared for Elon Musk to complete his deal to buy Twitter, all signs pointed towards Musk closing the acquisition and ending his Delaware court battle with the social media company. Judge Kathleen McCormick, a Delaware native sworn in as Chancellor of the Chancery Court last year, who presided over the case from the beginning, delayed the trial and set another deadline for the deal's completion. If it didn't close, the trial would be held in November. This was seen as a partial win for Twitter, which could only gain from the delay. Or did it? Stay tuned as we break down how the pitched battle went down, who emerged victorious, and who lost between Elon Musk and Twitter in the next episode. This game of hide the ball must end. The team of lawyers representing Twitter had this to say to what they saw as Musk's on-now, off-again tactics leading up to the acquisition of the century. Hello, you're listening to Elon Musk Twitter acquisition, only on Coco FM. Twitter's battle to get Elon Musk to concede in his multi-billion-dollar bid to buy the social network was locked to go to trial on October 17, 2022, as set by Judge McCormick. The ongoing saga until then had taken many twists and turns since Elon Musk's $44 billion offer was accepted by Twitter back in April 2022. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO then decided he didn't want to buy Twitter anymore, citing a lack of clarity on Twitter's fake accounts that gave him cold feet. But ever since then, Twitter had been pushing to force the deal through legal action. The scene was then set for drama, emotion, blame games, and counter-narratives, while the careers of many employees at Twitter stood on the precipice of extinction. After the judge had ruled that she could accelerate proceedings to October this year, Musk's side claimed a minor victory, though, given that he had more recently sought a start date of October 17th versus Twitter's request of October 10th. Twitter, at its Q2 earnings report, revealed that it had already spent $33 million during the previous quarter on the pending acquisition, a figure that could only escalate in the months leading to the trial if it were further delayed. In yet another twist in the tale, Elon Musk then sent a proposal to Twitter expressing that he was willing to go back on his original offer of acquiring the company at $44 billion. All eyes were on Twitter, which, if it agreed, could end the months-long saga between the two sides that included a lawsuit scheduled to be argued at trial in a Delaware court. A date was then set for October 28, 2022, for the two parties to close the deal. As the deadline neared, Musk began putting his stamp on the company, posting a video of himself walking into the headquarters with a sink on the 27th, and even tweeting, "Let that sink in," on his account, and changing his profile descriptor on the platform he now owned to Chief Twit. He then arranged meetings between Tesla engineers and product leadership at Twitter. Following this, many employees expressed their unhappiness with Musk's involvement, with some questioning his qualifications to run a social networking company. His support of a far-right political candidate in Texas, plus sexual harassment accusations from a former SpaceX flight attendant in May, raised concerns with many of Twitter's workers. During a video Q&A with Musk in June, some employees mocked Musk on internal Slack channels. Others have also ridiculed or chided him publicly on Twitter throughout the deal process. Another major worry for the Twitter ecosystem was the impending change that Elon, who they called an outspoken absolutist, would usher in the future. Many feared losing their jobs. This had been a concern ever since Musk had announced that he would take the company public, and infamously commenting that half of the workforce was unnecessary and were just busy sipping coffee on company time. Seen as a ruthless, no-nonsense totalitarian no one could reason with, Twitter, that had stood the test of time of the most challenging times through its history, battling controversy after controversy, would now have to fit into a new world order. Musk was finally in and would make some moves that were termed ruthless. Following these inevitable events, a flurry of resignations hit Twitter. In comparison to those in sales, partnerships, and other similar roles, however, it was employees in technical roles who jumped ship. Musk then apparently ordered the leader of sales and partnership departments to lay off more employees. This was a demand resisted by Robin Wheeler, who oversaw marketing and sales. He refused to comply, along with Maggie Suniwick, who managed partnerships, resulting in both losing their jobs. Wheeler had considered quitting Twitter earlier, but was persuaded to stay by his subordinates. Having made some swift and deep-cutting moves as soon as he took over Twitter, Elon Musk was yet to deal the most shocking blow when he fired CEO Parag Agrawal and policy head Vijay Gadde just hours after he sat in his new cabin. But this was just the beginning. Under Musk, new decisions would be made that would mark the advent of Twitter into the new era, much to the delight of many, and even the ire of its loyalists. Stay tuned as we explore the changing nature of the social media service and how it began in Musk's new shoes in the new age in the next episode. The biggest thing that's changed is the team is fully empowered to move fast and be as aggressive as possible. Welcoming Elon Musk's arrivals, Twitter CEO, Trust and Safety Vice President Product, Ella Irwin stated that the new boss encouraged the team to worry less about how their actions would affect user growth or revenue, prioritizing safety as top priority. No sooner than Musk had presided, that controversy followed. Twitter's new boss took no time to fire CEO Parag Agrawal and legal head Vijaya Gadde, along with 3 other top executives of the company moments after he took charge, tweeting, "The bird is freed," to indicate the social media platform would now be more open to unfettered and uninhibited speech, as he had promised. The dismissal of the 2 Indian-American principals was inevitable as soon as Musk completed his acquisition. Agrawal and Gadde, who had clashed with Musk in the days leading to the takeover over purported fake accounts and censorship, were literally shown the door and reportedly escorted out of the Twitter headquarters. Under the severance policy and the Agrawal offer letter, upon an involuntary termination, he would be entitled to receive a cash amount equal to 100% of the NEO's annual base salary, which is in each case payable in a lump sum on the 61st day following the involuntary termination. Beyond the severance, direct stocks held by Agrawal, Gadde, and other fired leaders will be bought back for $54.20 per share. Another blizzard Musk faced immediately was the Pelosi controversy, which literally blew up in his face, forcing him to delete his tweet that was discredited as a conspiracy theory. After all, it was social media he was dealing with. In case of his outspoken nature getting the best of him, Musk was criticized when he posted a reaction over the assault of Paul Pelosi on Twitter, the social media giant he took over several days ago with a promise to impose fewer restrictions on its content. Paul, husband of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was attacked with a hammer at their California home, and the attacker, identified by authorities as David DePape, screamed, "Where is Nancy?" during the attack. President Joe Biden said that it was she who had been his intended target. Musk's conspiracy theory did not go down well with netizens. Media houses, too, denounced the baseless idea and felt it, Musk's view, doesn't deserve to be published. In the since-deleted post, Musk responded to a tweet from Hillary Clinton, who called the attack on Paul Pelosi shocking, but not surprising, arguing that certain political mouthpieces now engaged in using social media to actively and regularly spread hate and deranged conspiracy theories. An amplified approach to safety following the events in part reflected an acceleration of changes that were expected around Twitter's handling of hateful conduct and other violations. It could be understood in one way as freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, which means that certain tweets that violate the company's policy would be barred from appearing in places like the home timeline and searches. Twitter has formally long deployed visibility filtering tools to tame misinformation and had already incorporated them into its official hateful conduct policy before the Musk acquisition. In a surprising hike, the number of tweets containing hateful content on Twitter rose sharply in the week before Musk tweeted on November 23rd that impressions or views of hateful speech were declining. Tweets containing words that were anti-black that week were triple the numbers seen in the month before Musk took over, while tweets containing a gay slur were up 31%. Did you know there are more than 400,000 Twitter accounts that currently have blue ticks, which marks them as an authentic source, and are usually given to prominent accounts such as those belonging to celebrities, politicians, journalists, government departments, and major corporations? Musk has expressed his intent to turn over the new blue tick to all individuals, celebrity or not, and that individuals could have a secondary tiny logo verifying that they belong to an organization, if that organization verified them. While a more detailed explanation is awaited, his previous attempts to overhaul verification, which he believes is necessary to reduce fake accounts and create much-needed revenue via subscriptions, was halted after it led to a slew of fake accounts. A relaunch in the current quarter, Twitter Blue charged $7.99 for a blue tick, but users used the opportunity to create fake companies such as Eli Lilly and Tesla for less than $10. This revamp was pulled soon afterwards. The verification change was aimed at paving the way for reactivating banned accounts to the platform. According to Musk, a general amnesty would be offered to suspended accounts is seen to not be breaking the law or engaged in egregious spam. Some of the banned accounts include those of British right. Mere months after his $44 billion buyout of Twitter, owner and CEO Elon Musk is already searching for a new chief executive of the company. So what's in store for the social media service in the coming years? Hello, you're listening to the final episode of Elon Musk Twitter Takeover, only on Cuckoo FM. Musk, who acquired the company in October 2022, had previously shared that his position as CEO would be temporary, and that he expected to reduce his time at Twitter and find somebody else to run it over time. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO confirmed his plans to step down at Twitter in a tweet recently, writing, "I will resign as CEO as soon as I find someone foolish enough to take the job. After that, I will just run the software and servers teams," he said. The billionaire, in an informal share, posted a poll asking Twitter users if he should step down as head of the company, and a majority of the users, about 17 million, voted for Musk to leave his post. He responded with a nod, sharing that he would abide by the results of the poll. Twitter polls are usually like polls, which means that they are not actual or official public opinion data. It is rather funny how inauthentic a fake account may also be able to register a response to a Twitter poll. Musk's Twitter takeover has gone through its rocky phases, with his leadership resulting in massive staff cuts, a spike in racist hate speech, advertisers fleeing or cutting down their spending on the platform, as well as the reactivation of previously banned accounts. Meanwhile, the chief twit, as Musk has previously called himself, claims that Twitter usage has reached an all-time high since he took over, and hate speech is at an all-time low. The billionaire's management of Twitter has now also raised concerns about his other ventures. Musk had sold billions of dollars worth of Tesla shares earlier in the year to finance the Twitter deal. He also pulled in a lot of talent from Tesla, SpaceX, and the Boring Co., including executives, engineers, and attorneys, to work with him at Twitter. Musk is CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, and founder of the Boring Co. There have been concerns raised with the board at Tesla, expressing worry about Musk having violated his obligations to the shareholders. For several years, the amazing spike of Tesla stock has stunned Wall Street. But in 2022, that meteor blazed out. The electric car maker's stock plunged a staggering 65% of its value in 2022, and the company kicked off the new year with yet another fall, dropping 12% in a single day, given poor sales. Elon Musk's Twitter takeover has proven to be a headache for Tesla. Musk has run multiple companies for years, but his purchase of Twitter last year is not like his controlling of SpaceX. Brand Musk is pivotal to his fans in choosing Tesla over another automaker. Now that Musk has essentially become a professional Twitter troll, he was bound to pay the price for posting provocations and openly embracing some right-wing positions from his powerful perch atop the social media giant. Musk selling billions of dollars worth of Tesla shares to fund his Twitter takeover hurt the stock badly. Musk also saw his own personal wealth drop sharply, though he still has more than most, to say the least. Meanwhile, much to the tragedy of some of his loyalists, the amount of time he's spending on Twitter is visibly cutting into the time Musk has for Tesla. The chaos following the hot now, cold now acquisition journey led many possible alternatives to Twitter, even if none seemed to be on par with the platform in numbers or technical finesse. A great one-stop shop of news, opinion, comedy, cringe, and unpredictable drama made Twitter a part of pop culture for a decade plus. Its easy usability, along with the hallmark of being an American-born social media company, seemed unbeatable. Meanwhile, Mastodon and other new potential Twitter rivals have still been able to thrive ever since Musk officially took control of Twitter at the end of October 2022. It has been noted that the daily usage of services like Mastodon, Hive Social, and Counter Social have all spiked in the last 2 months. At least half a dozen other Twitter-like platforms have also been launched or are set to be early next year, some of which include PostNews, Spoutable, Mozilla Social, and Blue Sky, founded by none other than Twitter co-founder and former CEO Jack Dorsey. So, as a silver lining to Twitter lovers, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's just like whenever an elephant walks in a forest, it leaves behind a deep impression that becomes a watery pool of opportunity for the others in the food chain to leverage and thrive. With investors even more confident in backing new social media companies, only time can tell